Hello everybody and welcome back. I am excited to talk to you today about one of the two biggest movies that opened this weekend. You've probably heard by now somewhere on media, social media, maybe from a friend or coworker, loved one, about the term Barbenheimer. Now, as you've probably heard me talk about yesterday, that's a term I absolutely hate. Why they chose this weekend to open two such polar opposite movies. One is pure fantasy, the other one is based mostly in facts that happened in at that time frame. And of course, one is more fun and one is more serious. If you're wondering which one we're going to talk about today, we are actually starting with Barbie. Now, Margot Robbie was cast in this role and she honestly does a pretty good job. And even Ryan Gosling as Ken, it's like his characters usually have a little bit more depth, but it's a Barbie movie, so you know Ken's not going to have a whole lot of depth to his character. It's just how it is in the whole Barbie world. I mean, you have all these different Barbies. You've got astronaut Barbie, and you've got chef Barbie, and you've got pretty much, if you can imagine it, there's a Barbie for it. And this movie even takes that further than it needs to go. And I'm about to touch on that here in just a second. But in this movie, Ken is just Ken, and all the Kens are just Ken. So there's nothing special. And then, depending on how much you followed Barbie, and I'll be honest, I didn't a whole lot, so I've had to research this a bit. I was not a Barbie fan as a little girl. I was weird. I was kind of a tomboy. I wanted Matchbox cars and Hot Wheels and G.I. Joes. I had He-Man, She-Ra, all the Masters of the Universe stuff. I had the Castle Grayskull. Like I said, I was not the typical Barbie girl by any means, but it's like I had friends that had Barbies and I went to their house. It's like I'd play. I knew how to play with Barbies and everything, but I wasn't that interested in them. But I was kind of interested to see where they were going to go with this movie and the direction that they went with this. Okay, it's a Barbie movie. There's been all these Barbie cartoon movies, and so I'm thinking, okay, they're gonna maybe just talk about a Barbie doll coming to life and just kind of showing her life. It's kind of that plays out, and it's going to be sweet and innocent. And I was seeing they had rated it PG-13. After watching this movie, I'm wondering if it should have been rated R, just because of some of the topics that they touch on in this movie are just so inappropriate. This is one of those ones I'm going to save the score till the end. But I will say I did give this a guilty rating, very guilty rating on this one, because this is not a Barbie movie that you would want to take your kids to. This movie is aimed at like the little girls that are all grown up that were around when Barbie first came out, like back in the 1950s. So grown adults that have been kind of obsessed with Barbie their whole lives might enjoy this. I think it was mainly aimed at like the college age crowd of more of the partiers, and just did they have to put politics in a Barbie movie? Now, I'm not talking about right wing or left wing or anything like that, but it's just the whole plutocracy and the patriarchy and the whole women hate women and men hate women, and just kind of all of this stuff that is disparaging to women. And it's like, Barbie is supposed to, I'm doing air quotes here, which I know you can't see me, but supposed to be like an inspiration to little girls that they can be anything. And so why are we reducing them down to just this, and at the same time just making Barbies like they can do anything and like Kens are basically nothing? This movie sets, true feminism back 50 years. this is just, it's not about men or women being everything and men being nothing, or men trying to control women. There's always going to be jerks out there. It doesn't matter where you go or what you do. And in both sexes, I'm sorry, men are maybe more controlling and mean in that way, but women are much more conniving, backstabbing, sneaky. And I could go into some other words here, but I'm trying to keep my podcast PG, so I don't want to jump too much into that and then end up regretting that afterwards. But like I said, I did give this a guilty, I wish I could say very guilty rating, because I just have the guiltiness, so there's not really very guilty. But in this one, Barbie wakes up in her dream house and she's kind of focused on the color pink, because that's Barbie's favorite color, which that's kind of a funny thing too. I think it was Sherwin-Williams actually ran out of Barbie pink because there was such a high demand of it for this set that they actually ran out, which I think was kind of funny. I think it was one of the major paint companies, but that was kind of a whole other thing on that. But Barbie pink. But so she brings up that pink stands for pretty, intelligent, never sad, and cool. And of course, she lives in Barbieland in her Malibu dream house. Like little girls playing with their Barbies when she wakes up and she jumps out of bed, she goes from the second story of her house and she jumps all the way to the ground and lands gracefully. It's Barbie. I don't know about you, but it's like when I did play with Barbies, that's kind of what we did. Is we didn't walk down the stairs. We just kind of jumped off the house. Not that I'm encouraging anybody to jump off their house. No, this is pure fantasy. This was a movie, so no. But one of the first things that we see with Ken is they're on the beach. And now listen very carefully to what I'm saying. The Kens are having an argument over who can beach each other off. So they're having a beach off. Now, that is meant in entirely the double entendre meaning of that. I'm not meaning the actual word beach. So remember, I'm saying the actual word beach, but when this is happening in the movie, it does not sound like they're saying that word. And I can remember this is like in that first 5 minutes of the movie, approximately. I wasn't like keeping a timer, but it's early on. But it's like my mouth was like, huh? This is a Barbie movie. What in the world are they doing? And then you quickly realize that Barbie is obsessed with death. Now, I'm just as like, Barbie? What? It's like, kids' movies, no. And so she ends up trying to connect to like a real girl in the real world, and she ends up trying to go to the real world. And once she gets to the real world, it's all this misogynistic, patriarchal, everything against women. And it's kind of funny how she gets to and from the real world, because when she goes from Barbieland to the real world, she takes her dream car, a boat, a rocket, a bicycle, a van, a snowmobile, and then rollerblades. And then in order to get back to Barbieland, she has to do the rollerblades, snowmobile, the van, the bicycle, the rocket, the boat, and back to the dream car. And so that, I don't know what, it's just kind of like all the vehicles that she's ever had and kind of going back and forth. So that's kind of funny. But I just love, one of the things I do love with this one is when they're in the real world, and Margot Robbie's even done this in her real life in kind of a promotion of this, but they're wearing basically human-sized Barbie clothes. And Margot Robbie in real life has like had designers like completely custom made dresses for her that are reminiscent of actual Barbie dresses. And it has just been really fun to see that. And that's why I was really hoping that this movie was going to go more of that innocent kind of thing with that. And there's a lot of different lines in this movie that really go off the deep end with things that they're adult things that they're referencing. All throughout this movie, Barbie agrees that she's a stereotypical Barbie. And like I said, we see a lot of the other Barbies. We see all the other Barbies, or not, maybe not all of them, but many of the other like big Barbies or like just weird Barbies that have come out over time. And in this movie, there also is a weird Barbie. And she's kind of the Barbie that if you grew up playing with Barbies and you chopped all of her hair off and you drew all over her with markers, that would be the weird Barbie that doesn't really fit in and everybody hates her. Like I said, it's just a weird vibe to the whole movie. Well, when Barbie goes to the dream world, Ken kind of Barbie goes to the real world, not the dream world, sorry. Tongue tie on there. But Ken takes over the Malibu dream house and all the Kens take over Barbieland. And doing so, all the Barbies just become these mindless... I don't even know how to even their only interest is Ken, and they have no interest in anything else. So it's just a big line in the movie that kind of even touches on that is in the real world. Somebody says, "I'm a man with no power. Does that make me a woman?" And again, I'm just like, what in the world are they doing? And I think one of the most important messages that was even in this movie is that ideas live forever. And ideas like this are going to live forever. And it's just... Like I said, they take Barbie way further than she ever needs to, like, even consider going in this one. It's really kind of a big thing about depression Barbie, and even that takes it, like, way too far. I'll let you figure that out if and when you ever decide to see this movie. Now, mind you, there's a lot of people that love this movie. I'm seeing a lot of praise, and I'm also seeing people that are going, like, what in the world did I just watch? This was not what I was expecting. Honestly, when I saw this in the theater, I'd probably say a third of the people literally got up and walked out when I was there. They just could not believe what they were seeing on screen. So this movie really has polar opposites on its viewership. There are the people that are going to see this and they're loving it. And then there are the people that are going to see this that are literally going WTF. And I'm in that second camp, both personally and professionally. The deputy scale, the score that I gave this one should not come as a surprise. On a personal level, I'm probably around the ones, which I've only ever given a few movies that. Even with evaluating everything with the deputy scale, I only gave Barbie a 3.0 out of 10. Now, 3.0 is, if you must see it, wait for DVD, Blu-ray, instant video. This movie is not worth paying the extra money to go see it in the theaters. It's definitely not worth it, especially if you're going into this expecting an innocent kids movie, because that's definitely not what you get here in any way, shape, or form. So I really hope that this maybe helped, especially if this is a movie that you are considering. Definitely, like I said, not safe for kids by any means. Just some of the topics that they're touching on in here are just carried way too far, and a lot of the little subtle things that are going on in the movie, and shame on Mattel. Seriously, shame on Mattel for this. And I'm probably going to get some hate on that. I don't. So be it. I mean, I'm just here. Like I said, I bring movies from a different perspective. You don't have to like it. I hope you do, but you don't have to. But so I hope that this helped. Tomorrow we are going to be talking about Oppenheimer, and I'm interested to bring that to you, especially since it's from an entirely different perspective. I kind of like how movies just can go from literally one extreme to the other, and this is one of those instances. So until then, bye-bye.